So in today's video, I'm sharing 8 ways to stay sober and avoid relapse in early addiction recovery. But if you're new, my name is Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist and I love helping people create relationships that work. So the very first thing you need to do when trying to avoid relapse is you need to identify your relapse triggers. And a trigger is anything that's going to cause you to go back into your addiction. This could be people, places, events, spending time with family, relationship issues, feeling lonely. Basically, it's anything in your life that triggers the desire to use. And so what I want you to do is I want you to make a list of what those people, places, and things are that tend to make you want to use again. Because that's going to lead to step 2, which is you make a plan around each one of them. What are you going to do about your loneliness? How are you going to spend the holidays coming up? Do you want to go to that family event? Do you need extra support in your life right now? Think about what you need in order to manage your relapse triggers, because that is going to ensure that you can stay sober during difficult times. So the next thing you need to do is you need to assess the quality of your program. Do you have a program? Are you going to 12-step meetings or Smart Recovery or Celebrate Recovery or any group that supports your recovery and staying sober? We can't do recovery alone. It's way too hard to do in isolation, and I don't want that for you. So what I want you to do is just assess the quality of your program right now. Do you have a mentor or sponsor? Do you go to meetings? Are the meetings working for you? Are you contributing to your program in any way by helping others out, not just taking? Because that's going to help us feel more part of the group. So assessing your program right now is going to be really key, because building a solid recovery program is part of early addiction recovery. Now, the next thing you need to do is be honest with yourself about where you're at in your early recovery. For instance, if you're an alcoholic and you're struggling with craving or really having obsessive thoughts for using again, you might consider something called SoberLink. It's an electronic testing device that can serve as reminders for you to stay sober. It also can help you rebuild trust in your family. And that's part of the reason why this video is actually sponsored by SoberLink, because sometimes we just need extra tools, especially in early sobriety when our relationships are not solid and have been really damaged by the addiction. Doing some alcohol testing, even if it's short term, can help you stay accountable and rebuild trust in your relationships. Now, the next thing I want you to do to stay sober and prevent relapse is stay really close to your program. This means that most people in early recovery need daily meetings. I know you're going to say, I don't need that. Well, here's your test. If you go a couple of days, how do you feel emotionally? Are you happy? Are you connected? Is life going well? Because my guess is that when you get to day 2 or 3, you're probably wanting to engage in addictive behavior again, because 2 or 3 days is too long to spend by yourself in early recovery, which is why they recommend 90 meetings in 90 days. And let's face it, on Zoom, there's no reason that you can't do that. But staying close to your program, however you choose to do that, is going to help protect you against relapse. Because when a crisis hits, you're already connected to your program. You don't have to make calls to people you haven't seen in months. People are going to ask you at meetings, how you doing? And they're going to see the look on your face, and they're going to know you're hurting, and they're going to ask you about it. And so when you can stay close to your program, especially in that first year of early recovery, that's going to help you prevent relapse. The next thing you need to do to stay sober and prevent relapse is don't ignore problems. Every person in early recovery has problems. That's part of the reason why we got addicted, is because we didn't know how to deal with life on life's terms. So what I want you to do is think about what are those problems or those issues that you are actively avoiding right now. And I want you to find somebody, a mentor, someone else in recovery, and talk about it. Doesn't mean you have to take action right away, but I want you to acknowledge what is going on in your life and acknowledge those problems that you don't really want to deal with right now. Because in a way, you're going to actually be dealing with them more directly by just simply acknowledging that they exist. And that's going to help take the weight off your back emotionally. The next thing you need to do to stay sober and prevent relapse is you need to share at your meetings. And I know that may sound obvious. They go to the meeting, but then they don't say anything. Or they feel like they can't share what's really happening because everybody else is so happy and they're the only ones that are miserable. This isn't true. If you're going to meetings where every single person is happy and touting recovery, you're in the wrong meeting. You need to go to meetings that are real and authentic and people are sharing what's actually happening in their lives and their struggles around staying sober or their own struggles in their recovery. Because that's how you stay sober, is you go to meetings, you share what's really happening, not just your successes. You need to share the struggles too, because meetings should be your safe place, your insurance policy for staying sober. Now, the next thing you need to do is consider whether or not you need professional help. Because sometimes in early recovery, there are other issues going on, like if you have a diagnosis like bipolar or depression or severe anxiety that is really making staying sober or staying in your recovery program difficult. Because there are lots of ways to get professional help. You can get individual help, you can find a therapy group that's often a more reasonably priced alternative. There are agencies in every city that offer low-fee counseling, so if money is an issue, you can absolutely still find therapy. Because getting that support you need is going to make staying sober a lot easier in the long run. And it's going to make your life happier. And that's what real sobriety is about, is creating the life you want without the substance. That's what I want for you, and that's what's possible. So the next thing I want you to do is go watch my video on self-care, because that's a really important part in early addiction recovery. Thanks so much.